participate in South Korea. Physical punishments are allowed in South Korea. For example, if you didn't do your homework and if you didn't really do a good job, if you didn't really satisfy professors their expectations, so they have a right to punish you. For example, they just ask you to push up like 5 or 10 times, sometime in the middle of the class, and that's what I kind of went through. That they have the little sticks, right? And then like if you didn't do a good job, professors ask you to just come out right in front of the whole classroom, which consists of probably like 30 or 40 people, and then like she just punishes you, or he does that, and that was really, really embarrassing for me because, like I said, like I didn't really do a good job in school, right? And then I didn't have a lot of friends, and then people started just making fun of me. So when I went through that, so like I had to just come out and get a lot of footage. So it was not a really enjoyable experience, I guess. So spending a lot of long hours in school is really normal, and also in South Korea. But the reason is because we have a lot of schools that I'm going to talk about probably towards the end. We actually have more than 300 schools, although the size of South Korea is just as small as in the size of the state of Washington. We have more than 300 schools. But universities that are located in Washington here are probably less than 30 or 40, right? Can you imagine how many universities we have in South Korea compared to here? I mean, you guys have probably 30 or 40, but you still have a lot of options you guys can make, right? But if you were to be born in South Korea, and if you were to go to university in South Korea, you just have a lot of options, right? But meaning, like, what happens is there's a lot of competitions. There's a lot of things you have to go through. So you have to either be good at studying, and then you can go to good, university. Probably Taylor knows what I'm talking about exactly. Yeah, so they usually wear school uniform unless you're in elementary school. So probably if you go to private school of elementary, level, they probably sometimes ask you to wear school uniform because they have. But other than that, if you are in middle school or high school, so you just have to wear uniform because if you do that, so you can save a lot of money. You don't really have to worry about what kind of clothes you're gonna come up with, the day after that, the day after that. You don't have to worry about it, right? And then just a lot of kids in their juvenile, they're going through a lot of kind of hormone changes, and they're having emotional fluctuation. They're really sensitive about whatever they're wearing. So it just kind of prevents that kind of hardship of choosing clothes. So this is my perspective. So I think it's really, really great to wear school uniform, and it also gives me the great memory that I used to be in high school. So I still keep my school uniform, so I'm not quite sure when I'm gonna wear, because I don't know when I'm gonna go back to South Korea. I've been here for like 2 years, and then I'm not sure when I'm gonna buy my tickets. I haven't talked to my parents about it, but I still have my school uniform. I didn't really wear these kind of school uniforms. These are like school uniforms. Probably the same thing goes in China or especially Japan. So they wear these kind of uniforms. I guess these are not really good students, so they're not really wearing in a way they're supposed to wear. They just wear a yellow hat, and then they're trying to dye their hair or something like that. But if you ever do that, if you went to your school, so you're just gonna be punished. So don't do that. Yeah. And then it's really easier to go to cram school after school. You guys know what cram school is basically? You guys are not really used to it. I know what you guys thinking about the cram school. The cram school is basically the place where you go to after school, trying to reinforce and then embrace your school. For example, when it comes to mathematics or English or whatever you're learning, just because you want to get a good grade or score in your school, because you're taking those classes in school, right? So this is the picture of a cram school. This is really, really big one. They usually, the big ones, really famous ones, usually located in the Gangnam. Gangnam is, as I said, Gang means lake and Nam means south. So what that means is basically under lake, there's a place, so because they're really close to each other, they're placed in lake, so they're really abundant, in terms of growing plants and stuff. So I guess that's what they're really famous for. That's why they're really wealthy, I guess. And I guess, like they're really passionate about education, educating their kids as well. So I used to go there in the cram school in Gangnam too, and just these places as big as, for example, probably have you guys been to big, I don't know, the place where public speakings are usually happening in the HSS, so all the way down the hall. Yeah, this place is just as big as that, you know, and then more than 100 people, 200 people are just kind of cramming in, and they're getting a class, you know. The pictures are kind of coming up, and they start lecturing for like an hour, 2 hours, and just as late as probably 1 or 12 in the morning, you know. It's crazy, right? So it's because you have to finish your class in school at like 3 or 4, and after that you don't have a break. You just go to a cram school in this town, right? And then like you just take classes. Sometimes you go down to a convenience store in the first floor or the building, and then you know that's what they're doing. You know, high school or elementary school. It could be a really sad thing, but the good thing is, I'm thirsty. They're learning a lot of things, right? So I guess like I've seen a lot of like, for example, Asian students that are from actual Asian countries, not here, Asian American or something, right? Like Japanese students, Korean students, and Chinese students. I see them, they're really smart in terms of mathematics, or some of them really good at English in terms of reading and listening, because they're really well trained when they're back in South Korea or Japan. So their moms are really passionate. I don't know why they came from, but there's that, you know?